Grand Rising, beautiful family. It is Zoretta's Recovery Reminders, and Ratchet is right here with me. My sweet girl. It is a little wet outside this morning, but it is really beautiful. I'll show you guys my view out my window. I love living out here. It is my joy to wake up in the woods every morning and not be surrounded by just, I don't know, square box. The square. So I'm going to read the Until Today, and then we're going to talk about building ourselves up after having the world feel like it collapsed around us. I mean, that's kind of like what happened in my life. I lost my children, and I was fighting to keep an abusive spouse. And when he finally left, I decided that I was not going to continue to chase something that was not serving my greatest good. And I think that was kind of what clicked everything into place, and realizing just how abusive the relationship was, it really freed me, realizing that I was actually abused. I was, and it was Ratchet, stop. My subconscious mind, we kind of, our logic center shuts down when we get abused over and over and over again on a daily basis. And I was unaware of this until, about 5 years ago, when I Googled the symptoms I was having: confusion, brain fog, depression, and came up with narcissistic abuse disorder. And I can't diagnose anyone, but there are traits that people, that people have in relationships that can give you hints about, what their personality can entail. And when somebody feels like they are entitled to anything that has to do with you, your time, your exma, the lower, chakra, and then makes you feel guilty when you don't want to do that. That's like an infringement on your sovereignty as a human being. And it really messes with your psychological, mental, and emotional well-being, especially when you identify with the things that these negative people can say. And my best advice is to get as far away from these toxic people as you can. If you love them, you need to think about loving yourself to the same degree, because when you really do, and you realize how loving yourself is not putting yourself in harmful situations so somebody feels better and you feel worse. That's just, it's not it's not a give and take relationship. It's you constantly putting yourself out for someone else. You're giving all your energy and never getting any of the positive emotional support. And it is emotionally exhausting. And I really believe these people are killers of joy. Anything positive in this realm, they are going after it and attacking it. And you have the choice to engage with these people. And I used to, try to convince him that the world was such a bright and beautiful, lovely place. And you're not seeing it right, gosh darn it. I didn't realize that he was draining like every bit of positive energy that I had purposefully to get his needs met. But I wasn't getting any of my needs met. And when I asked about it, I would get, attacked basically. And then, called out as the abuser. And I was just like, what the is going on? And delusion is what some people live in. Some people aren't even real people. I mean, depending on their lineage and just how much trauma they've got in their history, like they could just be living on their emotions. I know, because I used to be that. I used to do that. That's what kept me lost in my addiction, because I was so caught up in my negative emotions and I didn't like the way I felt, and I was trying to counteract that by using, medication. I was self-medicating instead of actually dealing with the internal issue, looking at it and going about, how do I refocus this issue so it doesn't look like this to me anymore? And that's what I did. And when we're no longer carrying around the traumatic situations as they used to, like they used to spark those same emotions in us. And it was like basically being back in the same situation. Like our body doesn't know that we're not in, mortal danger when we are triggered into fight or flight. And, I was being triggered like almost on a daily basis at certain points of my life. And when we're unaware of what that can do to our mental, and I trusted the person that I loved, so I let him just be himself. And until I was aware of really what was going on and I could truly see him for who he was instead of what I was making him up to be in my mind, which was my everything that I had ever dreamed of, it was all a false narrative that I had constructed in my brain. He was constantly abusing me, and he was not nice in any way, shape, or form, constantly making me like work for his affection and attention, and like never made me feel like I was really worthy of anything. Like nothing I said was, it was really strange. Like I can't explain to you how he made me feel, but it was really bad. It, like, really, if he really felt that way about me, it's unfortunate, because I really cared about him. And I tried to get that relationship to work. And I was reading, This Was It Even Abuse? And The sunk cost fallacy. When we make personal investments, such as giving our time, money, and other resources, we tend to commit to our decisions, even if a negative consequence outweighs the benefit. This is a cognitive bias known as sunk cost fallacy. In her book, The Highly Sensitive Person's Guide to Dealing with Toxic People, Shihada Ariba explains how in an abusive relationship, this translates to you continuing to pour yourself into the relationship because of the amount of effort and time you have already invested, even if you are deeply unhappy. You seek to avoid feeling as though you have wasted everything you have put into the relationship. You believe, I've invested 10 years. Just one more day might be the thing that changes everything. It creates a vicious cycle, and the more you invest, the more you commit, you feel to the relationship, and the greater the challenge to break away from it. You therefore stay longer, investing more into the relationship, hoping things will improve. And so the cycle repeats. And I really believe that they know that that's what they're doing, and they keep perpetuating the mental abuse cycle because it's an addictive cycle. And when I was stuck in my addiction, it was really easy for me to get caught up in it. And I'm just really grateful for awareness and really being honest with yourself. The hardest thing was I was the one who chose to be there. I was the one who kept myself in the situation thinking that I could change his behavior towards me by, trying harder, doing more of the things he wanted me to. Just, being the best person that I could be to what he wanted. And the goal was constantly moved. And, when you're constantly pouring into someone and not getting anything back, it can hurt. But when you really realize, like, I'm not really losing anything, I'm gaining myself. When I really turned it around and realized, oh my God, like, he left, all I have to do is be like, no, okay, I'm done. Like, I've tried as much as I'm going to try. 18 years I put into, and I put a lot, like my all. I tried everything, especially these past few years when I was trying to heal myself. I was trying to get him to heal with me, but it was not meant to be that way. And it's unfortunate because I want our son, to know that we were able to work together, and we weren't. I was, but he was too caught in his very big emotions. And now I realize it's emotional immaturity that, they can't get past those big feelings. And until they can, then, they won't be able to have mature relationship with anyone. So it's not me. It's not you. Go about and live your life in peace. What is meant for you will find you, I promise. Okay, May 21st. Sorry, I've been rambling 14 minutes. I am now receptive to the idea that what I did not do cannot stop me from doing something else. What a great reading. We already know who and what we are now. Oh, what we are not. We talk about it every chance we get. We highlight it when people give us compliments. We point it out to ourselves to make sure we don't forget. We already know about all of the times we have been weak and indecisive, the times we lacked clarity. We fret endlessly over errors in judgment. We talk down to ourselves every chance we get, just in case we might begin to believe we are the somebody we have told ourselves we are not. We already know what we are not doing and why. We already know where we haven't been and why we cannot go there. We already know what we don't know and why we haven't learned it. We already know how we messed up and what happened because of it. We already know who we hurt and how we did it. We already know the chapter and verse and what is wrong with us. We know it so well that we have probably lost sight of all the things that are right. For some strange reason, it is not always easy to give yourself credit when and where it is due. To give yourself the benefit of the doubt, to take your neck out of the noose so that you can move forward. In his book, Love Without Conditions, Paul Ferrini wrote, if you do not take relationship for bringing love to your own wounds, you will not move out of the victim cycle of the self-attack, self-defense, self-imposed guilt, and self-imposed blame. In other words, do your very best to see the right beneath your wrong. Until today, you may have been focused on all the things you were not and the things you have not done. Just for today, offer yourself the love and acceptance you need to move yourself beyond who you have not been and what you did not do. Today, I'm devoted to bringing love to the places in me where I do not feel good about myself. And that is when the healing happens. It is the low places and the negative parts, the abusive situations in our life that make us realize the bright light that we are. I would never treat anyone like that. And, I think that's like the reactive abuse that people do. That's what he was trying to get me to react so he could blame me for reacting to his abuse. Now I know the whole, construct of it because I've made myself aware of people's patterns. And when we're aware of our own patterns, we can be like, no, that's definitely not mine. Please, tend to whatever business that you've got going on in here. And, before I really couldn't do that. I was meshing myself with him and his feelings. I didn't have very clear boundaries. And today I do. We all need clear boundaries, but when we're, raised with trauma or neglect, we don't get those clear lessons in the beginning part of our life. So, when we get older, we kind of have to teach ourselves how to be the mature adult. I mean, unfortunately, that's what our generation, Gen X, does. We teach ourselves how to be the adult. And, for me, I couldn't take letting myself down anymore. I had let myself, my parents, my children, which that was the most painful and still is the most painful part of it for me, was letting my children down. But continuing in my addiction was not helping my children in any way, shape, or form. So the realization then it's when we can, get back on, our balance and live in the positive side of life and expect more positivity and healing to come our way, because that's what we've been getting. That's what comes, I promise. Continue to seek for your greatest good, and your greatest good is what you will find. I promise the universe is always conspiring in your favor. I love you all. I pray for everyone's healing out there today. Be a blessing and spread love and awareness. Peace. Love you.